Well, grand rising, everyone. We're about to get started. It is almost 7 o'clock. So come on in. And as you come in, let me know where you're from. I just want to make sure my audio is good. Okay. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me well. I am so excited. I have to be honest. We're already at part 6. This has been a 3-week journey every Tuesday and every Thursday in the month of April. And we literally are on the last part. And we're going to focus on connecting everything. And then we're also going to focus on marketing. So if this is your first time, you still have time to grab the 6-part series. If you just want part 6, which is tonight, you can have access to that for 72 hours on Facebook, on YouTube. You can have access to that. But if you want parts 1 through 6, and that's lifetime, you don't have to worry about paying for it again. Just click the link and you'll click the link that says hold my spot. Just look at it. There is a code because I believe Sunday evening, it will go up to 197. But this is a 7-hour series on how to write a book and market it after a pandemic. So definitely, if you are interested in having this information, which goes for anywhere from 5, 6, 7, 800, even up to 2 grand, this information is not readily accessible, and there's so far YouTube University can take you. Sometimes you may get stuck on a paragraph, or you may get stuck on something that you're not too sure about. So you want to make sure that you are getting the help that you need. So I take you step by step through the whole process of writing a book and marketing after a pandemic. And those of you who know, man, 2020 got everybody. Let's just say that 2020 got everybody, but it was a great time to write your book. So if you didn't write your book during 2020 and you were concerned about everything that was happening, it's okay. I'm here. I'm walking you through this entire process step by step by step. So, again, if you want to get the entire series, it's parts 1. We're talking about the purpose of chapter 1. And then part 2, we're talking about the purpose of chapter 2 and 3 and what it actually represents in your book. And then we're talking about chapter 4, 5, and 6, and even 7. We get up to 7 and we talk about the explosive climax and the plot twist and the environment and all these different things. Hey, Queen April. So definitely grab it. It is 37. That is unheard of. But I feel an obligation to make sure that people who say they want to write a book, I have just removed all of your excuses. You cannot say you don't have a coach. You cannot say that you don't have someone who's looking out for you. You cannot say you cannot afford it, even if you have to save $10 for 3 weeks. But after Sunday, this coming Sunday, it goes up to 197 for 2 weeks, and then it's going to go up to 597 because you're getting over 7 hours of coaching step by step, what is supposed to be in each chapter based on the type of book that you're writing, and also the information that is most salient to the audience that you're trying to reach. So, hey, Queen Middles, yes, I know. So, we're going to get started. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Monique Lisa. I am a writer, director, and producer of stage, film, and books. I am a 45-time nominated playwright and a 26-time awarded writer. And I have sold out the world famous Apollo Theater 5 times. And I've also had the opportunity to be a part of 7 different films that I've worked on, produced, cast, directed, you name it. I have been a part of it. And I have produced over 200 stage plays, and that means on and off Broadway, over 200 stage plays that I've had the opportunity to write, direct, and produce. One of my signature plays is called All My Struggles, and the first movie I ever did, rest in peace, Harry Belafonte, the first movie I ever did, he was the producer for that. So we're going to be talking about today just all the things that bring the book writing information all together. I have helped over 3,000 now, over 3,000 writers and aspiring writers, and I've helped with over 62 physical books that are out in the market. And two of the people that I've helped are New York Times bestsellers. And I am someone who I hear words like music. So if you present something to me and it's not cohesive or it just doesn't flow the way it should flow, I can tell you what's missing. I can tell you what you need. I can show you how to build your words, build your sentences. I can show you how to structure your book. And it doesn't really matter the genre. And part of the reason that that's just one of my gifts, part of the reason why I do that is because I am gifted in that way. So we're going to put together everything that is going to help us tonight. So hopefully we have, I'm getting all my reminders. Hopefully we have all of the people who signed up. Hopefully if you signed up, you are here because this is part 6. If you signed up for the free, you're only going to have access to this live until Sunday. And then after that, it disappears forever. But again, if you want access to parts 1 through 6, definitely sign up. It's 37 unheard of, and it won't be around for longer than Sunday. Sunday it goes up to 197, and then May 15th it goes up to 597. And then when it's a part of the vault and all of the other courses that we have available, then it'll be at the correct price. So we're going to start off with putting in the chat. Please put in the chat where you are from and what you are writing. And I know there are people here tonight that may not be writing a book, but just want to know how to market properly on social media and all the different platforms that are out there that allow you to be able to market what you have. But books are my focus, but you can still apply that information to any product. So I just wanted to be clear on that. Okay, so just put in the chat. Let me see where people are coming from. I know we have the West Coast. I see my West Coast people. I do have some people on Facebook. I'm actually on 3 different pages going live. So that's right, San Antonio, Texas. I have one of my authors from San Antonio, Texas that has written 5 books with me. I have one from the West Coast. She has written a children's book with me, and a few more people coming in. So just let everybody know where you're from and what you're writing. And even if you're not writing a book, eventually you can still translate all of this information into a product. So before we get started, I want to get some housekeeping done. If you have a question, you can put it inside of the chat. I want this to be interactive. So if you have a question, I'm good with that. I just want to make sure that I'm able to answer the questions and still get through my notes. And I make sure I have notes because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. I've been doing this since I was 7 years old. And so some things I had to learn. Hey, Miss Donna. Oh, I absolutely love her. This is Miss Donna. And she has been a part of my production. So thank God she's here. She gets to see her girl talk about the thing that she's good at. So just let everybody know where you're from and what it is that you are doing, what you're writing about, or if you have a product, that's fine. I'll answer that too. So we left off with what the importance of each chapter is. And we also left off with talking about marketing. But I'm going to take a little bit deeper dive into the marketing because for those of you who do not have a budget to market your book or your product, you want to be able to really maximize social media. So if you want to maximize social media, let's talk about this. And this is Facebook. I'm talking about Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, sometimes LinkedIn. LinkedIn is more focused on businesses and it's more business to business. If you're looking for a job or career, it's a little bit more like that, but you can find people on LinkedIn that would be interested in your book, depending on what kind of a book you are writing. So we're going to be talking about that. So the first thing is first, talk about your book as soon as possible. Talk to your family, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your family. That's your friends that act like family, and talk to your frenemies. That means your friends who are your enemies. Talk about your book everywhere. Once you start talking about your book, even if you're not done, what you're going to have to do is bring that awareness in a way that's not pushy and not salesy. You definitely want to start talking about your book. You want to talk about, hey, Kara, you want to make sure that the people who need to know about your book know about it. And I talked about this in part 3. We're not looking for support. Even though in the beginning, when you first write a book. You are looking for support, but you want to write a book that people want. You don't want to have a book or a product or anything that people are just supporting you, because after the first 50 people support you, then what? So you want to make sure that you're finding the audience that is right for you, so that it's not support, but it's actually people desirous of buying what it is that you have. So we want to make sure we're talking about it. Talk about it in the morning, talk about it in the evening, talking about it at lunchtime, talk about it wherever you go, the supermarket. Talk about the fact that you have a book coming out, because you never ever know who is interested in getting that book. It may be something that they're waiting on, right? All right. So I do suggest people to pre-sale their book. And the reason why I say pre-sale your book is you can set up like a little website. Wix is still free. You may not be able to do e-commerce on it, but Wix, Wix, is still free. And if you set up a website and you point people to it, you want to make sure you have a really nice cover. Please invest in your cover. Please do not just go on Canva and put together a book cover, because the problem with that is that there are other people. I have seen 3 or 4 people with the same cover. All they do is just have a different title. Don't do that to yourself. Please invest in a book cover. And if you can't invest, then just do a plain cover, black, white, something that's not going to be, too too loud. And if you need it to be loud, then let it be loud. But if you're going to do a book cover, just do a plain cover, and then just put in the font, a nice looking font, and put the words, the title of the book. But if you use Canva, or if you use anything that's highly used, there's a good chance that somebody else is going to have the same book cover. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that it's as original as possible, because books sell. And my husband, he drills this into everyone that has anything to do with his book, which is Refuse to Live Talented and Broke. People buy books for two reasons. The cover really resonates with them, like they really like the cover and the title, or the author has enough of a following that they don't have to push it. So let's say Beyonce came up with a book. She really wouldn't have to push it that hard. Why? Because her name, that name recognition is there. And with that name recognition, all she has to do is just say it's going to be released on this day, and all of you guys that are Beyonce fans are going to buy it. But what if you come up with a title that's banging? I mean, you have a title that everybody's like, "Ooh, I like that title." That's going to help, but you just want to make sure you don't have an ugly cover. Okay? So make sure that the artwork, if you have to invest 40, 50, $100 in a nice cover, and then also when you do that, ask people, ask them, have 2 covers made, ask them which one they think really resonates with what it is that you are writing, what it is that you're trying to do. Excuse me. So that you're not just creating in a silo that nobody sees the book and they're like, oh my goodness, what is that? You want to make sure that you do get some advice. I always, always, always suggest a beta group. Even if you ask someone on Facebook to say, hey, I'm going to post this. Can you ask a few people to look at the 2 titles that I have? Hey, Queen Patty, look at the title that I have, and what do you think about it? And if you show them 2 covers, they're going to be honest. People are going to be honest. They're going to tell you exactly how they feel about the cover. And if you get enough no's and it doesn't resonate, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad cover. It just means that it's not resonating with the people that you've chosen to help you to choose the right cover. So you want to make sure you do that. And before you really launch, hype up your book. Hype up your book. And the reason why I say hype up your book is because when you buy something that you like, when you are at some kind of event that you enjoy, if you find a hair product that you like, if you find a dress or shoes or something that you like, you tell somebody. You tell somebody and you say, I love this. This is great. You share it. Now, some people don't do that. They like to keep stuff to themselves and they think low key nobody notices. But if you're the type of person that when you have something that's good and something that's nice, you tell people. Do the same with your book. Tell people exactly what you're doing and hype it up. I am writing this amazing book. And even if it's not amazing, so what? It can become amazing in the process. But tell people, I'm writing this amazing book. You got to read it. This is this is the type of book that I'm writing. These are the type of characters, or this is my life story, or whatever it is. Hype up the book. And the reason why I say hype it up is because if you're not excited about your book, no one else will be excited about your book. If you're not excited about your product, no one else will be excited about the product. And no one should have to work that hard for someone else's product. So again, the same way you hype up things, if you saw a good movie, when I saw Black Panther the first time, I told everybody. And I saw Black Panther over 150 times before Chadwick Boseman passed because I loved the movie. Not that I was trying to give Disney, money so that everybody can come out and see it, but because I love the actors, I love the way they put it together. I love the way Ryan Coogler just went all out with that story. And so I told people, word of mouth is still the fastest and the best way to promote something. So if you have a book and you're launching and you're an aspiring author, talk about it, hype it up, tell everyone when? Now. When? Yesterday. When? As soon as possible. Tell them because they will tell other people if what you're saying resonates. And so one of my authors, she wrote a book and I did a nice beta group for her. Her book was called At What Point Did I Let My Husband Die? Barbara Johnson. I should have these links in here. But when I told a few people, my small beta group was about 5 people that were going to pre-read her book. They absolutely came back with everything I had been sharing with Barbara before she released the book. There's a few people here on the chat, and they loved the book, and she was in tears. But she needed some people that she didn't know to tell her how they felt about her work, and that's difficult. Let me tell you, it's very difficult. It's like having a baby. Sometimes you don't want to present your baby if you the only one that thinks it's cute. So, it was her baby, and I had to give her baby over to strangers, and they had to evaluate the look, the feel, the information. They had to vet her baby. But they all came back unanimously and they said that this book is amazing. And she cried. I'm telling you, she cried. And sometimes it's very hard for us to share what we're doing or what we're working on because we're afraid to let people see our baby. We think that we're going to be judged harshly, and we think that people are not going to have the same love for it that we have. And that's okay. It's better for people to be honest and say, you know what, I wasn't really feeling the characters, or I didn't really understand where you were going, or I'm not really sure what you meant. It's okay because this gives you an opportunity to help the audience that you're trying to reach to get the information that they want and that they need. And that's why I always say it's okay to beta test your product. It's okay to beta test your book. It's okay to beta test something that you want to put out in the marketplace because you want to make sure that you're listening to the audience. When you don't listen to the audience, you don't sell. I'll say it again. When you don't listen to the audience, you don't sell. If your product is not out there and people don't know about it, it won't sell. If you're not talking about it to people, it won't sell. If you're not excited and letting people know that you are on cloud nine that this product is coming out, it won't sell. If you don't ask strangers to check it out, because strangers, remember, there's no ulterior motive for them. Mother, father, sister, brother are going to say it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But a stranger, if you want an honest opinion, will probably give you an honest opinion because they have no emotional attachment to you. They're not going to say something to you and make you feel good. They might be nice, but tell them, say, just be transparent. Hey, BJ, I was just talking about you. Um, just want people to tell the truth. And if they tell the truth and you tweak and you fix things just based on your audience, and I'm not talking about your Aunt Sue that's going to give her opinion and has been given her opinion about everything and has been wrong the whole time. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about people who you genuinely feel will give you an honest answer about what you're putting out there, right? Um, and then show up. That's another thing. A lot of times when I circle back with people who say they're going to do something, they haven't been showing up. Like they haven't been showing up, they haven't been talking about it, and they haven't been giving themselves the opportunity to make their presence known. If you don't make your presence known, and I do, please hear me. If you're an introvert, you don't necessarily have to show up on social media. You can just put up a video, and they have AI now. They have avatars that will not necessarily be you, but speak for you. Avatars that are not human. And you can just upload the avatar with the speech that you want them to say, and they will promote it for you. Because please, I understand if you're an introvert, it's not comfortable to be on camera. It is not comfortable to put yourself out there like that, but you have no excuse for not at least giving yourself the opportunity to let people know what it is. You got to show up. And if you have to show up where it's an audio, maybe you just talk. Yeah, no excuses. Maybe you just talk. You guys drop it that in the chat. No excuses. And the reason why I say no excuses is because you can do a voiceover in your home, put some graphic, some graphic, some artwork, put some artwork with it, and then with the artwork and the voiceover, that can be your show up. But you gotta show up. You cannot, do this thing in the dark and then complain that people aren't buying or people aren't interested. People aren't interested in things they don't know about. People aren't interested in things they don't know about. So talk about it, right? All right. And then if there's anybody like let's say you post, you're putting up nice posts. You use Canva. If you've not heard of Canva, Canva is a nice way to start using, putting together some graphic things. If you're posting and you notice that people are like, oh, you post too much. Oh, why are you posting so much? Guess what? Those are the people who were never going to buy from you. Don't listen to them. Do not listen to if someone says you post too much. Why are you always talking about your book? Why listen? They were, I'm going to say slow, they were never going to buy from you anyway. So you have to ignore people who say, oh, I don't like your post. Sweetie, this is a free country. You can unfollow, you can unlike. You do not have to. But if you're using social media as a platform to promote what you're doing, you have to post often, and you have to post often, and you have to post often. You cannot post once a week and expect to have an influx of people in your DMs on Messenger or whatever platform you're using. People do not show up on social media at the same time. There are people that check in once a week. There are people that check in once a day. There are people that check in every 3 months. So you do have to post often so that the people who are interested in the message that you're bringing about the book that you have written as an aspiring author or as an author or a published author, whether it's self-published or traditional, and we'll talk about the difference for those who don't really know the breakdown of that. You have to show up, and you have to make sure that everybody who could possibly come across your page sees that you're consistent. Now, if you're posting about your cat and you're posting about your vacation, we had this conversation. I'm looking you right in the eye. We had this conversation, and you never talk about your book. When you finally do talk about your book and new people come to your page because they maybe saw a post, they're going to be confused. Are you interested in promoting your book, or are you interested in people, seeing you walk your dog or a picture of a plate of your food? Don't confuse your social media platform, and don't confuse your audience. If you're going to talk about your book, have a page where you specifically talk about it and break it down. It will never get boring. Let me tell you something. It'll never get boring if you talk about your book, if you break down different aspects of it. If your book has 10 chapters, you can chop up one chapter into 15 different types of posts. 15 different types of posts. If you have a product, write the word, whatever the product is, write it in a circle, and then draw lines out, and then write things that you can write about that one product. Maybe how it's made, what the texture is, what the color is. Maybe you use manufacturers. Maybe you had a problem and this is a prototype and now you're working on it. But if it's your book, you can talk about different things and repurpose it on every platform. Because if you're filming yourself on Facebook, you have to have your phone horizontal. If you're filming on TikTok or Instagram, you have to have it vertical. And so you can repurpose all of this content and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's say you do a post and it's like a minute long. It can go on every platform in every, way possible, and then you can break that down and make it into audio. How? You just separate it. You just play the audio and then put a picture up, picture of the book. You can get some really good mock-ups as well of the book so it looks good. Don't slap something together, because if you don't respect the book that you've written and you just throw it up there, other people will not respect it either, and they will definitely pass. You want the power of the thumb. If people are looking at your stuff on their phone, the power of the thumb means that they're going to use their thumb and they're going to stop on your picture or stop on your post. If you don't have the power of the thumb and people are just scrolling past your stuff, maybe it doesn't look the way it should. So if you know you have a book coming out, your post can say, I'm so super excited to be launching. And even if you don't have a specific date, you're welcome. Even if you don't have a specific date, you can start talking about it. You can do a breakdown of your characters. You can do a breakdown of the environment. You can do a breakdown of the location. You can do a breakdown of the overview. You can do the breakdown of the basement story. Even if you have a product, whether it's a book or a product, you can talk about, those hard days. You can talk about the times you felt stuck. You can talk about that. This is all content, but it has to be content that makes sense. It has to make sense. Make sure that everything is partnered properly. So let's say you're talking about your book. You can talk about all of the different types of printers that you've dealt with. You still are keeping the book in the center. So if you draw a circle and you write the word book in the middle, and you draw lines out, every line can represent something different. Line one can represent how difficult chapter one was and how you had to develop and really make sure that you were talking about that big picture. Line number two can be how you were interested in really bringing together the differences between your protagonist and your antagonist. Another line can represent, just people that were helping you to choose your cover based on the A and B testing that you did. So always think about all of the different things that still come back to your book, still come back to your product, still come back to that main thing that you're focusing on, right? Let me make sure I have my notes here. Yes. All right. So again, get comfortable with telling people what it is that you have out in the atmosphere. Speak it out into the atmosphere. Make sure that you're not afraid to talk about what you're doing. Um, it's okay to say, my book is coming. That's a post. And then see how many people are interested. If no one says anything, sometimes it's okay to clear out the friend list. Go through the list. Instagram does it for you. It'll show you the last group of 50 people that did not interact. Get rid of them. You don't need them. You don't need people just on your page just to show numbers. You don't need that. It is better to have 200 people following you and 100 of them are your clients, especially if you have a price point of 10K or above, or you have a price point of 500 or above. You're making more money than a person who has a million followers and can't sell 36 t-shirts. And this is real. I'm not making that up. There was a young lady on Instagram. She had 1.1 million followers and she was doing some kind of a fundraising thing. And she kept posting that she had 36 t-shirts that she had to get rid of and she couldn't sell it. Why? Because they were just followers. And sometimes follower and lurker could be the same thing. Someone just looking at your page. They don't interact. They don't like. They don't comment. They don't share. They don't save. They don't get rid of those people. They're the same people that'll come back to you and say, oh my goodness, you keep posting the same thing. They weren't going to buy in the first place. What's the sense of having numbers if you're not going to be able to translate that into contacts, contracts, and things that are going to make you money? Social media is making money. Every time you post, they can show that the people that are investing in that platform that they're making money. Why aren't you making money? Talk about your book, talk about your product, show up. If you don't want to show up, get somebody that'll show up for you. Maybe you have a niece or a nephew or a cousin or a sister or a brother who loves to promote. Let them show up for you. But still, don't do your book or your product a disservice by not showing up. And you got to show up constantly. I did a challenge. I guess it was the end of 2020. I did a 40 post a day challenge. And I'm telling you, when I say I was exhausted, I was exhausted. But I did a 40 post a day for 7 days challenge. And By day 3, I was on the explore page of Instagram. I'm giving this away to you guys. I'll let you know, because some of you haven't purchased the package because you just want to feel your way around. But I'm telling you from experience, there were um, days that I got up to 38, but I think 38 was the highest. I don't think I made it to 40 because I wasn't thinking about the fact that I didn't have to change the post. I was doing fresh new posts every single day, and I got up to 38. And some days I think the lowest I got up to was 27, but I was pushing day 3 explore page of Instagram. And you know that is not easy, but they were like, oh, she's showing up. People are really, commenting and sharing and doing all these different things. So when you show up, people will notice, and the algorithm for your page will change. So just make sure that you are definitely letting people know what's coming, and that even in that you're hyping it up, right? So um yes, I want to make sure I cover this really quick. So when you're on social media, if you do videos and you're on social media and you're letting people know that your book is coming, speak directly to your audience. Some people, they get on social media and they talk about a lot of things, and the last thing they talk about is the product or the book that they're working on. No, speak directly to your audience. It's almost like you're part in the Red Sea, because everyone who's not interested will move out the way. Speak directly to your audience. Don't dance around it. Don't play games, and don't pretend like you don't have something that you want to share, that you want to promote. Speak directly to your audience. And sometimes that's just holding up your book and saying, have you ever wanted to write a book? And if you did, let me tell you about my journey about writing this book and why it's special to me. Use the words you, not they, them, no pronouns here. You, just you. Speak to them. So I want you to know that this was a labor of love. I want you to know that this may be the book that you've been waiting for. I want you to know that this may be the prayer journal you was looking for. I want you to know this may be the manual or the self-help book or the technical book or the autobiography. Speak directly to the audience that you want to reach, because everybody else will fall to the wayside. They will move out of the way. When you don't speak directly to the audience, they won't know. Do not try to reach everyone, especially if you're writing a book. You cannot, because you can't be all things to all men. You can only speak to the people that you specifically have been called to speak to. So if you have something that you know is for a specific audience, do not try to generalize it. Say, I'm talking to you. Are you interested in blah, 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 whatever it is? Are you interested in a book about praying? Are you interested in a book about touring? Are you interested in motivational quotes? Are you interested in poetry? Well, I have something here for you. And I'm telling you the truth. The people who your voice resonates with, they will follow. I want to use a quote from the Bible talking about King David. King David only had one prophet. His name was Nathan. And when Nathan spoke, David heard his voice. And so if you are someone's David, let me tell you something, they will hear your voice. So speak directly to them, straight, no chaser. And again, hype it up, be happy about it, be the person who, when people are around you, they know that you love what you have produced. You love the fact that you moved out of your way, you kept the promise that you made to yourself, and you did the doggone thing. Be happy about that, because if you don't, people are going to feel your energy. They're going to feel, oh, she doesn't seem happy about her book launch, and oh, she doesn't seem convinced that her product is that good. Oh, she doesn't really, seem too convincing that this is really what she wanted to do. No, people feel your energy. They can see how you respond. They can see how your posts are. And if you're not serious about, what it is that you're promoting, they will know. They will know. You don't want to come across half-hearted. There's a lot of people do that. They're half-hearted. Don't be half-hearted. Be excited. Be excited. And if no one else is excited, you be excited for you. If you don't have a hype man, be your own hype man. If you're not someone who really shows a lot of emotion, then get somebody else to promote it. If you have t-shirts, Get somebody else to promote it. I want to get my t-shirts that say aspiring authors or I survived Monique Lisa's boot camp. I'm going to get those and get them blinged out because I have so many people. I have over 3,000 people that I have coached. And I'm telling you, that is something that I feel good about it. I feel excited about that because so many people were stuck. And when people are stuck, they won't talk about it. They won't market it. They won't push it. They won't hype it up. So if you feel stuck, you want to get unstuck. You want to get out of that box. You want to get out of that mindset. So you got to be excited. Um, you can also, this is an idea. I was thinking about this earlier. Sometimes you don't want to give away too much about your book. You don't want to, you don't want to just spill all the beans. So what you can do is practice talking about the essence of your book. Practice talking about just the most salient parts. You don't have to give away the action, you don't have to give away the climax, you don't have to give away the resolution, but talk about the essence of what the book is about. And when you talk about the essence of it, and I'm talking about if you're at the cooler at work, if you are on social media, if you are out and about, if you're in the supermarket, talk to people. People love to have conversations with strangers. I know the people that I'm around like to have conversations because people always find me and always find a way to strike up a conversation, and I welcome that. I welcome conversations with people because I know that if they're talking to me, there's something that they want to share, maybe something they want to get off their heart. And then it gives me an opportunity to maybe share what I'm doing or talk about the things that I'm working on. And that's not a bad thing. And I tell you, someone will say, because I've heard it said, before, wow, I never would have thought that you were an author. I would love to hear more about your book. You know what? I have a girls a book club, or I have a Bible study, or I have, a family reunion, or I have something. And I think that they would enjoy this book. I think they would enjoy this product. I know about a not for profit. Talk about it because you just never know who's around you and what their need may be. They might just be an angel. They might just be an angel and you just don't know that you took the time to open your mouth and speak, and someone is like, this is exactly what I needed. I prayed about this. I talked about this, and you came as an answer to prayer. You don't know how much you can change someone's life by speaking up because you may have the answers that they've been waiting for. So you want to make sure that you do that. Looking at my notes, I just want to make sure. Yeah, that's another thing. So if you're going to be just sharing, also talk about why people need your book. That's another point. Talk about why people need your book or product. I'll throw that in there. And the reason why I say that is because when you can explain a why, or if you can, if you can share a why, that helps people to understand if this is something they really want. When you really can break it down, I'm talking like if you're talking to someone and you want to do your 30-second elevator pitch or your 90-second elevator pitch, always bring up the why. So I was working on a book called 52 Tips, and it's writing tips, 52 Tips to Become a Lean, Mean Content Machine. And the reason why I chose that title is because I really wanted something that would make people think and maybe, just kind of put their minds in this place where, well, what do you mean by lean, mean content machine? So I put lean, mean to cut away from the fluff. Like people don't like big empty words. So 52 tips, that's a lot of tips. Wow, okay. Lean mean, okay, you're cutting away that fluff. Content machine. Content is a buzzword. Every and anybody's talking about content. Data, which is content, data has outsold fossil fuel and gold. If data has outsold those two things, what do you think that means to us? That means that people are looking for our content and they want it. So, you telling people why they need your book, why they need your product, why they need your content, and you explaining the essence of it is going to get their attention. That's so important. Don't be vague. Don't dance around it. Don't be afraid to speak up, but tell people your why. And when you tell them your why, they'll know. They'll know right away if what you have is for them. And that's what you want. You want to weed through all of the noise and narrow down the people who are interested by saying the things that they need to hear. Speak directly to them, tell them your why, tell the essence of your book. And sometimes you can say why you wrote it. If it's autobiographical, it's okay. Tell them why you wrote your story, why you felt it was time to write your story. That is fine. That's a good thing. And if it's a good thing, then for them, it's going to be a great thing. All right. So let's talk about marketing and sales because a lot of people don't, hey, Steven, what's up, man? A lot of people don't realize that if you start to talk about what you have and you start marketing it, that's okay. Because some people feel like, oh, you're being pushy, you're being salesy. No, again, marketing is not selling. Marketing is awareness. Marketing is awareness of a product, of an event. It's awareness of your book. It's bringing awareness of what you do. So that's what marketing is. Selling, that's a whole different animal. Now, if I say, you know what, hey, my name is Monique Lisa, and I'm a writer, director, and producer of stage, film, and books. I'm telling you who I am. I'm not selling you anything. I'm talking about what I do. I'm not selling you anything. I'm not saying buy my writing course. That's sales. So some people don't know that there is a difference. Advertising and marketing, they are two things that go hand in hand. When you talk about something and then you advertise it, that's an ad. Advertising, ad is the same thing. But marketing is just bringing awareness to what it is that you have and bringing awareness to what you do. And that's okay. And if you want to have someone professionally sell what you have, then do that. But don't ever be afraid to market what you have. That's why this is how to write a book and market it after a pandemic. Because when you think about sales, you really want to be strategic with sales, but bringing awareness until you're ready to really properly sell your book. Um, that's important. That's really, really important. So we want to be intentional about that. And social media is just a vehicle. It's just a vehicle. It's an opportunity for you to have free marketing. So don't be afraid of it. Yes, some people don't like to be on camera. We talked about introverts and some of the things that you can do if you're an introvert. Hire an actor. If Steven is still there, he's amazing. Pay him. He'll market your product. He is amazing. He'll market your product. Don't get it twisted. There are people out there that would love to market your stuff. Don't run from that. Don't hide from that. Don't let your product suffer because you're shy. Talk about it, right? And you want to also amplify your message and your voice by being clear and concise when you are talking to people that may be in a position to invest. So this goes back to your elevator pitch. Be very specific, very concise, clean message because you never know when you're talking to someone. And the reason why I'm saying this is because somebody that's on here, I don't want to shout her out. She's a little shy, but she spoke to a group of people who were interested in what she had, and she literally sold 100 copies of her book before they even went to print because she talked about it. She put her shyness aside and she was talking to someone who was in a position to buy the first, well, she had 200 books. They bought the first 100 books. And she called me like ecstatic. She was jumping up and down. I'm sure that she wasn't sitting down because when she was talking to me, I could hear the excitement in her voice. And that comes from talking about it because you never know who you're talking to. If you're an actor, you might be talking to a director who can put you in something, but they feel good about having this conversation with you and want to see what you can do. If you're an aspiring author and you're talking to people, maybe laundromat, maybe I don't know, at the movies, and you're talking to them about what you have, you never know who they are. You never know. And so don't be afraid to be clear and concise. I just wanted to make sure that people understand that. And then here's something that you can do. You can get an excerpt. That's right. Do it scared. Do it scared. That's right. Do it scared. Do it afraid. Cry through it. Have people cry with you. It doesn't matter. Still do it. I know Nike says just do it, but to me, it's more than just do it. You have to be in it. And if you're in it, you're going to do it. So if you're not spending time with your characters, if you're not spending time with their backstory, if you're not spending time with your story, you may be a little bit intimidated about sharing it. But once you start sharing it, people are going to remind you, oh, did you finish that book you were telling me about? Oh, I'm waiting to buy it. How many authors or aspiring authors have heard that? I'm waiting to buy your book. And I'm talking years. People will have that same conversation with you for years. I'm waiting to buy your book. Why should they have to wait that long? Hmm? And I said this in part three, where if you cannot afford to print a book and you want to do that, do an ebook first. Because there's, as a digital product, there's no printing involved. You just have to make sure that it's a lot, you have the layout proper and a good cover. You don't even have to necessarily get an ISBN number for an ebook. People do get it, which is fine, but it's a digital product and it's going to go directly to the person who buys it. So make sure when you are speaking, just be aware that you never know who you're talking to. So make sure you're very, very clear on what it is that you're doing and that the person doesn't have to guess. If a person has to ask you why, you haven't told them enough. If they have to ask you why, like, why are you doing this? You haven't told them enough. You haven't given them enough information so that they can walk away and their takeaway is, yeah, that's right. This is something that I want to circle back with this person when it's ready. Or, yes, I'd like to get a purchase order. I'd like to put it out there and see if I can get this in my community. You never know if someone has a book club. And if someone has a book club and they have a pretty active group, they'll all buy your book. And that month you will have quite a few sales. But you got to talk to people. You got to be able to just open up and say, yeah, this is what I'm doing. Um, I know that I know that there are people who feel like they can't talk about their book because it's not written. So let me tell you a little story. I happened to be going to visit a principal at a school in Brooklyn, and I was talking to her about a production that I was working on. And then I saw a book on her desk, and I started to ask her about, the books. And she was saying that they had like a French speaking community of students that they would love to, have more, information, more books. And I said to her, I said, well, I am working on a book for this age group. It's just not in French. And she was like, oh, it could be translated into French. Now, that's not why I was meeting with this principal. I wasn't meeting with her to talk about my book, but it just so happened she had a book on her desk and we just kind of organically went that way. And so she said to me, she said, when your book is ready, I would love to pre order 200 copies, 200 copies of a book that I hadn't even written yet. And we continued to have conversations and I worked on the book and that was like a done deal. That was like a done deal, but that would not have happened had I not just kind of segued into asking her about this and her telling me about an influx of French speaking children, probably most likely Haiti, French speaking children that she wanted to be able to encourage through books. And so this is what you have to do: open your mouth, because a lot of people, they talk but they're not necessarily promoting what they do or what it is that they have as a product. They talk but they're not talking to benefit what it is that they're doing. If you're on social media and it's not to promote your business or your product, you're wasting time. All you're doing is, as you surf other people's pages, you're helping that platform to make money, and advertisers pay big money to be on these platforms. So if you're not getting a piece of the pie and you're not putting yourself in a position to make money, you don't need to be on social media. And that goes for any platform. Use social media. Don't let it use you. If you don't have something to sell and you're just browsing, that's fine. But go look for someone that you can support by maybe commenting. Create a network of people who do what you do, or yes, build genuine relationships. That's right. Find that network of people that do what you do or are doing something you want to do. If they're doing something that you want to do, start to comment, start to make comments, and they'll start to make comments back. And guess what? They'll go to your page. And so I always tell people about the search bar on Facebook. On Facebook, because there's so many people on the platform, you can search any topic. If your book is about horror, you can search that topic and there'll be groups. If your book is about romance, you can search that topic. If it's autobiographical, or you're looking for authors, you can search any topic on the left side of the search bar on Facebook. And when you do that, I'm going to share with you just some tips and tricks on that. So let's say I'll use Barbara again as an example. If you use the search bar and you look for widows, or you look for widow groups, or you look for people who are recently widowed or anything like that, there's probably about 200 groups. And so what you want to do is make sure that that group is active. Make sure that there are posts daily. If the admin is not active and the people who are part of the group are not active, do not join that group, because you're going to just be in a wasteland. No one's posting, no one's commenting, no one's sharing, and no one has any conversation going on in there. So you don't want to waste time doing that. You want to make sure that you're in a group that is at least posting 5 to 6 times a day, so that it's active. And then make sure it's not just the admin posting. If the admin is the only one posting, and no one from the group is posting, no one from the group is commenting, and they're not saying anything, that's just an admin that's trying to keep a group alive that's probably been dead for a while. If no one is posting, it's not the group to join. Find an active group. And from 10,000 up to about 500,000, I think that's a good number. And the reason why I say it's a good number, because if it's got at least 10,000 and they're active, you want to be there. And you don't want to go in there selling. That's why I said marketing and selling is two different things. So if you go in and this is your clone audience, that means that this is an audience that looks like the type of audience that you want to build. What you want to do is start to comment, like things and comment. And you don't have to feel salesy or markety when you go in there. Don't sell anything. Be active for about a week and a half. Literally start commenting. And when you do that, you know what's going to happen. They're going to go to your page. They are going to go to your page. If you have a journal, like my Queen Patty, a legacy journal, what's going to happen is people are going to go to her page. They're going to go to her Miss You Graham page. They're going to go to her legacy. She has a page about living your legacy, whatever page she has. They're going to go, but they're going to go because they see she's active in the group. They're going to slide into her DM and ask her questions. They're going to see that her questions or her responses are relevant to the question that was asked. If you go in there with things that are not relevant, they have no relevancy to what's being asked, people are going to know that you're just trolling. And even if it's innocent, they're going to know that you're there with no purpose. Never be anywhere without a purpose. Don't just slide into DMs with no purpose, and don't slide into DMs trying to sell things to people who don't know you. They're going to ignore you. They're not going to buy anything. So start conversations. I say join about 3 groups that are close to your heart. And I'll use Kara as I use her as an example. So she has these beautiful book bags with these beautiful African American children on it. We are a large array of different colors, because people of color we have lots of colors, light skin, dark skin, in between, everything. So if I were her, I would look for anything that has to do with kid activities or anything that has to do with kid products. And I would go in, I would make comments and make sure that it's an active group, and I would begin to talk about it. And then there are some pages where it'll say on certain days that you can share your link. I would do that, because I'm telling you, when you have a good product, your audience will find you. You just have to let them know that you have the product. And so with a book, you want to go into a group that is close to, something that you're doing already, or something that you're talking about already, or something that's close to your book. You don't have to say what your book is. Let's say you're writing a book about romance. You want to go into a book where people read romance. I should say group that people read romance books. And if someone has presented a book, comment on it, especially if they share an excerpt, which is something that you can do on your page as well. Share a little excerpt. And don't worry about people stealing it. Listen, people are going to steal anyway. People are going to steal anyway. As long as it's copywritten, just go to the Library of Congress, librarycongress.gov, and you can just copyright. As soon as you have your copyright, you can always prove, if you find someone that is trying to share your stuff as though it's theirs, you can always prove that you have your stuff copywritten, because you're going to upload the PDF to the Library of Congress, and then you're going to pay the fee, and they're going to send you, I have so many of those, they're going to send you a piece of paper that says that your work is protected and it's not plagiarized, it's good. And so don't worry about sharing an excerpt of your book. Make sure you put your name in there, and then put down the date that it's copywritten. Just put a C inside of a C, and put the year. So, but do I'll use this as an example. When Tyler Perry first came out and he was still doing the Chitlin circuit, he would sell his VHS tapes for $30. And I don't know if you guys remember that episode where Oprah Winfrey handed him $30. She said that she did get to see a bootleg copy of his VHS tape. But that benefited him because now she knew who he was and she was in a position to do something. So sometimes just putting it out there, that's why people leak stuff. It's not really leak. People do that on purpose. They say leak because now they have everybody's attention, like, oh my goodness, this was leaked. Let me see what it is. So sometimes putting that little excerpt of your book out there gives people that you may not have had the opportunity to meet give them an opportunity to read your work. And if they are able to read your work, they may be interested in buying the book. So an excerpt can be 2 pages. An excerpt can be a paragraph. An excerpt can be, 20 pages, especially if your book is 150, 200, 250 pages. That's not going to be a big problem as long as you're sharing it in the right place. But it's okay to ask people to share it too. Ask people to share your post. Ask them to save it. Ask them to comment more than 5 words, 6 to 7 words, and an emoji. That's fine. Emojis are searchable. So if emojis are searchable and you're writing a book, use the book icon. Use the single book. Use the writing hand. Emojis they're searchable on everywhere. LinkedIn, they're searchable on Facebook. They're searchable on Instagram. People do use emojis and they do search. But hashtags are starting to fade out on Instagram. Sorry to tell you guys who are just getting into hashtags, they are starting to fade out. What Instagram is doing is they're starting to use topics. So if you use the same topics over and over again, they're going to push out your post to people who resonate with that topic. And they'll know that by the searches that they do. So if people are searching certain things and now you're using a topic tied to what they search for, they will start to push your stuff out to them. So Instagram is allowing you, especially on reels, which are really popular right now. I have a reel that has over 83,000 views, and it was talking about the Jetsons and all the different things that happened. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it has over 83,000 views, and that just came from familiarity. Oh, I hate that word. Familiarity. People who have watched the Jetsons and come from that era where they show the Zoom and they show the Doc and they show Rosie as the maid and the Rumba, which is like the vacuum. All those things resonated with my audience, and so people just went crazy. I had about, I think, 51,000 of those people were not followers. These were people who didn't even know me, but they loved the post. So you never know what post is going to go viral. You just don't know what's going to go viral. And so me just talking about how the past was dictating to us some of the things that were going to be coming. It just went viral. I don't know what else to say. So you never know. Your book, the name of your book could go viral. The information that you put on it. Let's say if you, I don't know, you think of a topic and the name of the book is something that people are just like, wow, I need to read that book. So just never underestimate the fact that you're going to get people who don't know you looking at your post and your everything that you put out there, and it just might be what they need. I got a call today about designing some things, and the person said, "Oh, I thought that you were someone who designs," and they were right. And the design that they're looking for is elaborate. So I was happy that they found us. Me and my husband, they found us. So that was a good thing. But when people don't know what you do, they don't know what to expect, and they don't know how to refer you. Like maybe they're not interested, but maybe they'll refer you. So make sure that your product is out there. Make sure your book is out there. Make sure you're talking about it. It is so, so important. And then for my authors, you don't have to give everything away, but you do want to put something out there. And then you want to also look for platforms that are giving you the opportunity to apply for awards. That's another thing people don't think about. If you're marketing your book, You want to start applying for awards, literary awards. There are awards for children's books. There are awards for romance. There are awards for people who are doing their dissertation. There are awards for all kinds of things. So you want to start applying for awards. You want to start applying for things that are along the lines of what it is that you're writing, so that other organizations can know about what you're doing. So let's say you have a product, you can apply to put that out there and have people maybe submit your name. Let's say you have a product, maybe they'll put it out there and they'll say that the product that you have created would be perfect for this organization. So it's almost like applying for an award, because now you're putting yourself in a position where a bigger audience can reach you. So, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whatever it is, but if you are an author, an aspiring author, you can start applying for literary awards, and they will let you know when the deadline is. They'll let you know when the book needed to have been published. They will let you know how many pages. They will break that thing down for you to a T, and you can start applying for that. And you can also start applying for TED Talks. A lot of people don't think about that, but you can start applying for TED Talks. You can say you're an aspiring author. This is what the book is about. Fill out the application. It's about 2 pages long, but you can start applying for TED Talks. And the reason why is because it's going to force you out of your shell if you're shy, and it's going to help you to hone your craft if you're not shy. Some people aren't shy, but they haven't honed in on their message to the point where it's an elevator pitch. If someone were to say to me, well, what do you do? I say, I'm a writer, director, and producer of stage, film, and books. I help people to either turn their book into a movie script, or help people to turn their books into stage plays, or help them to create a documentary. So the way I do the elevator pitch, I know who I'm talking to. But if you can't in 30 seconds just say what it is that you do, it's going to be very difficult for you to apply for any of these things, because people are going to ask you. So apply for literary awards. Very important. Start to put your stuff out there on new platforms you've never been on. I don't know if you guys have heard of Alignable, but the first time I posted on Alignable, which is another platform, I got 38,000 people that liked my post. And I probably got a good 50, maybe 55 inboxes to say, oh, I'm interested in what you do. So look for new platforms. Instagram and Facebook are not the only platforms out there. Snapchat, depending on what it is and how you're promoting, Snapchat can be a good way to promote. TikTok, the hashtag for books is BookTok. So a lot of people get found on TikTok if they're authors. There's also Pinterest. Pinterest, you have to have a pin that is something that people are interested in, and they have people selling courses and books on Pinterest. Don't sleep on Pinterest. And then there's platforms like there's Reddit. There's one in particular I was thinking of, but I kind of lost my train of thought in terms of like, why would you put your book on there? Twitter. You can use Twitter. Twitter now, you can put links on Twitter. One of my clients who we were interested in doing a book commercial with her, I put the link on Twitter and she started getting calls. So you can use Twitter. But there's a ton of platforms out there. You're not locked into Instagram and Facebook, which is owned by the same company, which is supposed to be Meta, but we've been calling it Facebook from the time it started. And when Facebook acquired Instagram, same thing. They're not the only ones. Don't feel like if you're not comfortable, there are lots of platforms. We even have our own platform for what we do, and also Clubhouse. Clubhouse has been a very good platform. We've got over 14,000. And the thing about it is we have over 14,000 members, but some people may or may not still be on the platform. But guess what? When you go on Clubhouse, you put up the right title, you're going to get people. So when you're marketing your book, when you're marketing your product, when you're doing anything that has to do with talking about it, do not be shy. Do not be afraid to talk about it. Do not think that you don't have what it takes to do that, because you can. You can definitely start to write down little blurbs and arrange them. Have your 30-second elevator pitch. That's important. I don't care where you are or what you're doing. If anyone walks up to you, you should be able to talk about what it is that you are selling or doing, what service that you provide. If you're a consultant, if you have a product, you should be able to tell anybody at any time what it is that you're doing. And as authors, it is very important to be able to talk about your book. If you don't know what the essence of your book is about, you need to go back and sit down with your book and figure out what that is. If you need help, again, you guys know how to reach me. The link is there. Actually, Lakeisha, do you have, no, you may not have that email. I'll put it in the chat. But you just definitely want to make sure that you're showing up in the places that make sense for the product, for the book, and for the service that you provide. If you're not showing up there, then people will not know. And there are people who are, they're willing to pay someone, but vet that person properly. Make sure that that person would be a good representative for you and for what you do. Don't just pick someone just because they're not shy. You want to make sure that that person can also target the audience that you're trying to target. You want to make sure you properly vet someone. There are people who have social media managers, and they have people who do run their page. So if you're in a position where you can do that and you can have someone to run the page, make sure that the information that they're putting and the information that they're sharing is really cohesive with the message that you want to put out. You never want someone to just say something that's random, that has nothing to do with what it is that you are promoting, because if you do that, you're going to turn people away as opposed to bring them towards what it is that you're doing. So make sure it's a good match. Let me make sure I cover. And it's so funny because when I am putting my notes together, I always think about how we as authors think. Um, and sometimes people do become timid, but you have to become the expert. Like if you write a book, you have become the expert. People are going to see you as an expert. They're going to be looking at you and expecting you to be able to share stuff with them. Do some research. Once you've written a book, if you're not sure, do some research, because people are going to be looking at you as an expert and you don't want to disappoint them, because again, you never know. This could be someone who's thinking of starting a book club and potentially have anywhere from 100 to 150, even 10 people that might be interested. That's 10 sales you would not have had you not shared with them that you have a book. So just make sure the people who are representing you correctly, and make sure that when you talk to people and you make it known that you have something, that you are prepared to deal with the situation however it comes out. If they say, hey, I love what you're saying, I need 10 books, make sure you can deliver. And if you tell someone, my book hasn't come out yet, but I can do a pre-sale for you, give them a good price. Pre-sell. If you're going to sell your book for $19.99, but they're willing to pre-sell and buy, sell it to them for 50% of that, so that you have just sold 10 books before you even launched. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, because what will happen is while they're waiting, they may end up getting new people to come in and be a part of their group and end up getting more books. That is a possibility. So you started out at 10 and the book hasn't launched, but you gave a date, and then they get 5 more people. That's 15 books. So don't ever underestimate, the power of speaking up and speaking out and sharing and having a very concise elevator pitch. If you feel uncomfortable, you're tripping over your words, you don't know what to say, then get someone else who can do that for you. Or say, you know what, I want to share this with you, and then maybe have like a little ad or a recording or something that you can share with them, so that you don't feel nervous and start stuttering or trembling. You just want to be confident. You want to be confident. And if you are, I said this before, and I like to repeat things because sometimes a person will say, what did you say? If you are a consultant, if you are a motivational speaker, if you're an inspirational speaker, if you are someone who plans to, do projects that are going to need a business card, your book is your business card. People getting some information from you from your book is your business card. There's nothing like it. It is a beautiful thing. Um, so yeah, we talked about that, making sure that you apply for awards and making sure that the literary awards are a good fit for you. Here's another thing: go to your local library. Yep. Go to your local library and start speaking about your book. Ask them if you can come in and do a reading. And if there's a group of people that you think are a perfect fit, tell the librarian or anyone who organizes the programs, tell them exactly who your audience is, because libraries have a wealth of emails and information on people. They have a wealth. So if you go to your local library and you say, I'd love to do a sit down with a group of, 10 to 15 people, and libraries can get up to 100 people. Most libraries can get a good number of people. That's a way for you to test out your elevator pitch. That's a way for you to, you know, uh, just get the opportunity to talk to people and let them know what's happening, because the library will bring you in. I did that recently. I went to my local library. I hadn't been in there since 2020. It wasn't, I just didn't feel comfortable. I said, I don't want to go there. I went and they were like, oh my goodness, can you come and bring some of the authors? Can you come and speak? Can you come? Like, they were so happy. Libraries there, I don't want to say they're not for profit, but I think that they are, the way it's structured. They get grants. They get grants and they get money for different programs. So don't ever underestimate your local library. And remember, there's a library in every town. So if it goes well with your local library, you can go to the next one. Libraries are everywhere and they do pay. Don't get it twisted. They do pay. There are some people who will try to get over, but they have a budget and they will pay. And if you, let's say they pay $400 and you do 10 libraries within your area, 10 to 20-mile radius. 400 times 10, that's what, 4,000. You do it a couple of times, yeah. And it's not like you won't have a captive audience. You will, because when the people come in and they leave their home and the library is inviting them out, there's a certain etiquette they have. So never be afraid to say, I don't know what to expect. No, the library has an etiquette. They're not going to, you're not going to go there and a rap concert is going to break out. It's going to be people who are interested in books and interested in hearing what you have to say and excited that a special guest is coming in. So you can go to your library. I have a few more notes here before I close out. You can also go to your local Chamber of Commerce. Now, the Chamber of Commerce knows about all the businesses in the area. So if you're coming in as an author, they know the businesses that may be a good fit for you. And you may be able to go and talk to that business if they have any kind of event. So never underestimate that. Let me get something to drink here. My throat was getting dry. Make sure. um, yeah, never underestimate the Chamber of Commerce as well, because all businesses that are registered with the town, their people know what the business is, and they may say, "Oh, there's a new author in town, and it seems like you might need a speaker," because they have speakers all the time. And you may want to come in as a speaker, and they pay very well also. So not only would they pay you to come in, but they'll allow you to sell your book. Same with the library. They'll bring you in, pay you, you'll speak to the people and sell your book. So these are places that you can go, that you definitely can sell your book, and it will be a good fit. um, let's go back to marketing really quick. When you're marketing, you don't have to be pushy. You don't have to be salesy. You don't have to do any of those things. Just show up, share what the book is about, and then you can keep it moving, because there are some people who they get uncomfortable. And the only reason why they're getting uncomfortable is because you're bold enough to talk about what it is that you're doing, and they're not. So those will be the people that may say, oh, why are you talking about this again? But be comfortable in your own shoes, be comfortable in your own coat, be comfortable in your own skin to talk about the things that you're doing. You don't have to be pushy. There are people who do push hard, and it's not necessary, because the people who what you're saying resonates with will buy, will ask questions, will ask if you have a mailing list. They will do these things. But the people who are not interested, they're the ones that'll give you a hard time. So you got to know who to speak to and know who you're speaking to. And then lastly, before we finish out, think of about 10 people that you actually can create a beta group with. Think about 10 people, whether your book is finished or not. Be thinking in advance about 10 people that can definitely be a part of your beta group, so that they will keep you accountable, and they will definitely keep asking you when the book will be ready. And then reviews. You can get free reviews on different platforms. You can do a search and it will tell you. You can do free reviews and you can do paid reviews. There are places where you might pay them $300, $400, but they have about 150 people that will read your book and give it a review. If you're not getting reviews on places like Trustpilot, and you can look that up, Trustpilot, which they are real reviews, they're not fake. That's what you want. You want real reviews. You definitely can get free and paid reviews. Very, very important. Um, don't ever be ashamed to sell your product before it is ready. You can sell your product before it's ready. You can sell your product before it is out in the market, and those pre-sales will help you to get your product out faster. You just have to keep close to your deadlines. Make sure you do that. Share an excerpt. I want to go back to that. Make sure you share an excerpt. It doesn't have to be a lot, but enough so that people will be interested. And then here's something that I want to before I close out. Here's something that's real important. You can get micro influencers. I'm not talking about Beyonce, Jay-Z. I'm not talking about anybody that has millions of followers. You can get micro influencers that have anywhere from 50,000 up to half a million followers, and you can pay them anywhere from $40 up to $150 to start promoting your book. They will give you a spot on their page and they will promote your book or your item. They will do it. I have done it. And it is real important to make sure that they also know what it is that you're promoting and how you're promoting it. So micro influencers work a lot better than influencers. And the reason why is because they're still reachable. And for the most part, if they do have someone running their social media, they will respond to you quickly. So, micro influencers, make sure that you are able to reach out to them. On Instagram, you'll see, look at their pages. If you see, this is the crazy thing. If you see someone that is posting on social media, but the post has date, the post has the same date. You do not want to, if it has the same date, you do not want, that is not a page you want to post on. If it has the same date and it has no comments, but it has a whole bunch of likes, that is not the kind of page that you want to post on. I'm telling you, because it's somebody is scamming. Somebody's, all they're doing is trying to get people to pay them for posts, but they don't have a real audience. They have bots that are not real followers, and then they have no comments, because that's the other thing. If you see a whole bunch of likes, but you see no comments, and you see that the dates are all close together, that is not a page that you want to pay to be promoted on, because no one is looking at it. It's just bots. So that's really important. And then get as many eyes on your book as possible. Carry your book around with you. If your book is ready, carry it around. Don't hide it, carry it around, and open your mouth and speak. If this has been helpful, guys, I know I went over by 16 minutes. This is part 6. This is the last. But if this has been helpful, guys, just put in the chat helpful. I want to see how many people actually feel like they got something from this, because I know there's so much more, but I just want to make sure that I got these salient points, that knowing how to find your audience, speaking about your audience, finding micro influencers, going to the library, going to the orange, for me, it's the Orange Chamber of Commerce, but the Chamber of Commerce in your area, making sure that you find the right people, the right places, and the right just areas to show up in, so that your book can be found. Guys, this has been my time. This has been my time. Thank you so much for being here. DV Graves, I think that's Cara. Hey, Daniel, good to see you. Hey, April. I have so many notes, and the reason why is because I've been doing this for so long. And the reason I've been doing it so long is because I love books, I love authors, I love movies, I love plays. And as a filmmaker, I'm always looking for books that can be turned into movies, and I'm always looking for products that can be used for product placement. So you just never know. You just want to be seen, you want to be heard, you want to be appreciated, but you got to show up. You got to open your mouth, you got to speak. So guys, that is my time. My name is Monique Lisa, writer, director, and producer of stage, film, and books. I'm closing out how to write a book and market it after a pandemic. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.